Good afternoon, America and the rest of the world. Hope you are all having a wonderful day.
What's up, my fellow Republicans? Time to make tier lists great again.
Hello? Hello, who is this? What's happening?
Joe, what the fuck? Who the fuck do you think this is? I think your dementia is finally reaching an all-time high.
Fuck off. I'm still waking up from my 6th nap today, you orange turd.
Joe, it's 2:45 in the afternoon.
Of course, Sleepy Joe was napping again. No wonder nothing ever gets done in office.
At least I'm in office.
Remind me why that is, Mr. Dementia?
Guys, we haven't even gotten started on making the tier list yet, and you're already bickering.
What are we ranking today?
We're going to be ranking the movies from the Transformers franchise, starting with the one from 1986.
Ah, what a wonderful year. I remember that's when Coca-Cola was first invented.
Joe, you moron, that was 1886. But of course you would probably remember that. Your ancient ass was probably the first person to buy one.
Hey, I may be old, but at least I know how to run a country.
What, down the fucking toilet? Joe, you single-handedly ruined this amazing country and made inflation skyrocket like never before. I was out shopping the other day and picked up a carton of eggs. A motherfucking dozen cost me an arm and a leg.
At least I didn't waste a bunch of time and resources to build an enormous wall.
Shut the fuck up, Sleepy Joe. That wall was beautiful. It was a work of art.
Could we please get on with the tier list? I want to get this done before Michelle comes home and yells at me for being on the computer again. After pulling that all-nighter to play Minecraft last week, she's been on my case about being on the computer for too long. I wasn't really paying attention. Something about going out and having fun in the fresh air? I don't know, but I really don't want to get yelled at again.
Fine, let's rank these sons of bitches.
Rank what?
Joe, are you fucking serious? We were just talking about it 2 minutes ago.
Oh, well, can you tell me again?
Transformers movies, and while on the topic, what you boys say about Transformers 1986?
Not bad, but it could have been a lot better. Let's start with how they killed off Optimus Prime in the very beginning, and then took forever to finally get the matrix of leadership in Rodimus's hands. The introduction of Unicron and Galvatron were A tier, but then the rest was a waste. How are you going to tell me that the great Optimus Prime dies, but Megatron gets a whole new look?
Personally, I think it was a good move. It allows you to take the time to appreciate characters that didn't get enough time on screen. The plot was amazingly well written and animated, and I loved Orson Welles as Unicron. Utterly beautiful work. S tier for me. This literally made the Transformers what it is today.
I agree. This movie was truly amazing, but I don't think it's S tier. They killed off all my favorite characters in the very beginning, including Starscream of all people. B tier.
Oh, the way they wrote that was amazing. Galvatron comes in and ruins Starscream's coronation before turning him to dust. Such an iconic moment.
Agreed. So A tier?
A tier.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so I want to keep it in order by release date, so the first film from 2007 is next. Now, this movie was awe-inspiring. They gave an incredible and realistic introduction to the Autobots and Decepticons' arrivals on Earth beside an amazing plot. The score during that scene, by the way, was phenomenal, and they didn't waste any time showing right off the bat how the rest of it was going to go. The first 10 minutes was destruction and action alone and had me glued to my seat for the rest of the film.
How can a movie glue you to your seat? How would you get up afterward?
Oh my God, Joe, it's an expression. And I will say that the action and music were great, but the humor was somewhat dry, just like Joe's term in office. But at least they made the humans realistic and directly involved with the plot, instead of being just there or thrown in for filler time like the other ones did.
Just like your presidency was a filler time for 4 years.
Joe, shut the fuck up. And Obama, make this one an S tier for me. This is the one film that actually makes Megatron and the Decepticons an actual force to be feared instead of a joke and easily taken out like the future ones did.
Joe, what did you think?
I think it was an A tier, especially Megan Fox during that one scene where the camera focused on her ass made her appear like a goddess.
Of course, that's the only thing you're thinking about.
Okay, so that's an S tier, fellas. Now we go to Revenge of the Fallen. I thought it was amazing. It was realistic and still had the humans playing a large role without getting in the way. The musical score was spectacular.
I'll admit the music was badass, but they did the Fallen dirty. They built up all that hype about him and said he was such a big and powerful threat and the master of Megatron, but he didn't even last long enough in the only fight he was in to actually do anything significant. He had telekinesis and teleportation abilities, but all he did was suck ass and get his face ripped off in less than 4 minutes. And they made the rest of the Decepticons a joke. How are you going to tell me that an enormous Khan-like demolisher was killed by just a few headshots in just a few seconds? Fights are supposed to be long and worth it. The only part that was truly epic was the forest battle with Optimus before he got killed.
For once, this motherfucker says something sensical. At least they actually gave Megatron the opportunity to kill Optimus. The Fallen just sat there in a chair for half of the movie, and hardly showed himself to be a superior Decepticon like he was made up to be.
Just like you sit in a chair in the Oval Office and constantly prove yourself to be a mockery of a president. What kind of motherfucker signs a bunch of bills into law without even reading them? Don't think I didn't see that video on Twitter when I got my account back.
Joe, he's right on that. What the fuck were you thinking?
I don't remember that.
Of course you don't. Do you even remember what we're doing right now? Oh my fucking God. Barack, you really made this guy your vice president?
In all fairness, he wasn't this bad back then. I did a lot of the work during my presidency, so he didn't do much as VP.
Yeah, well, that certainly fucking shows. Joe!
What's happening? Where am I?
For fuck's sakes, Joe, we're making a tier list, Grandpa. Did you not take your pills this morning?
Oh yeah, put this one in B tier. I hated the fact that Optimus was cheaply killed when he turned his back for a split second.
I think B tier would be best.
Fine, I don't really think such a film should go that low, but I can live with it. Next up is Dark of the Moon. Now this one I think should be S tier. It had an amazing twist and was well written, and Sentinel was a fucking badass. His lines, his realistic role as the villain where all he wanted was the survival of their race and the restoration of their home. His fight with Optimus and how he actually gains the upper hand and proves himself to be a threat. A true masterpiece.
I didn't like it. They killed off Ironhide and made Megatron nothing but a bitch.
Megatron may not have been the main antagonist, but he still had an amazing role. It was his idea in the first place for everything to go the way it did. Take over Earth, tricking Optimus into bringing Sentinel back to life so he could activate the space bridge so the Decepticons could invade, helping convince the humans into exiling the Autobots. His role was brilliant.
Sentinel literally ripped off a chunk of his head and he didn't even fight back. Megatron may have been the mind behind it, but he could have at least done something more than that.
Well, he did save Optimus in the end, so there's something.
Only for him to get killed in 2 seconds. It wasn't even a fair fight.
Sounds like the elections.
Well, I still say it belongs in S tier.
C tier. There's no way it should go higher than that.
A tier, Obama. I didn't like how they replaced Michaela with that Carly
C
chick.
tier.
All she did was act like a bitch to Sam.
C tier.
And he still went into the chaos just to save her ass.
C tier.
Joe, shut the fuck up and try to use that ancient ass brain of yours to think about it from a villain's standpoint. The point of being a villain is to always outsmart the heroes and have the brilliant plan, not always be the one to do all the work. I will say that I was pissed when they killed off Ironhide, but it made for an excellent and unexpected twist and opening for Sentinel to be the antagonist.
Okay, for the sake of it, I'll give it an A-.
That's still way too fucking high.
Shut the fuck up, Sleepy Joe, or I'll delete your Minecraft account.
Fuck off, Donald.
Okay, boys, next up is the Transformers Prime Predacons Rising animated movie.
Fucking S tier.
Are you and I actually agreeing on something for once, Donald? I think hell just froze over.
Joe, the day hell freezes over is the day you actually do something useful for this country, you old fart. But yes, this movie was brilliant, a perfect ending to such an amazing jewel of a series. Honestly, Transformers Prime is the best thing to ever happen to the franchise, and nothing has ever or will ever come close to it.
I honestly don't think the sequel series was half bad.
Robots in Disguise 2015 was decently put together, I will agree.
Barack, are you fucking shitting me right now? That series was a sack of shit. The fucking morons who made up that crap ruined a perfect ending to a perfect series by making that dumbass sequel. It kills my brain cells just thinking about it. I can only understand how Joe likes it because he doesn't have any fucking brain cells. They all expired ages ago.
Fuck you, Donald. At least my brain isn't orange like yours is.
Oh, what an insult, Joe. Where did you find it? On the back of a cereal box when you were trying and failing to solve the children's puzzle games.
Back to the movie, I think it was excellent. The entire series in itself was outstanding. I especially loved how Megatron finally realized the errors of his ways after Unicron tormented him. And the twist at the end, how Optimus revealed his fate and sacrificed himself to save Cybertron's future, truly exquisite.
Of course it was. If there was a tier above S, I would put it in there. It is impossible to say anything negative about this film.
Agreed.
Okay, Predacons Rising goes in S tier. We're almost done. What about Age of Extinction?
A complete joke, just like the election results.
Shut the fuck up, Donald.
I fully agree, shockingly. They literally changed the whole lore of the Transformers creation and made the humans trash in this one. Automatic D tier. All the humans were just there. While I admit that it was a somewhat good and realistic idea how the humans ended their alliance with the Autobots, I hated how they were killing them instead of just leaving them be.
Agreed. If they wanted the Autobots gone, they should have just built a wall to separate them somewhere. Walls are the solution to everything.
Donald, they're really not.
Shut up, Obama. I'm still right about this, just how I'm right about Joe and you Democrats rigging the election.
I thought it was great how they introduced Lockdown and brought back Megatron with a new design.
I will say that the designs and roles for both Galvatron and Lockdown were near A tier at best, but that's about it. Optimus's design wasn't that bad, but I prefer the original.
Speaking of Lockdown, that Attinger guy was such a fucking hypocrite for working with him. How could he say he despised the Transformers, but then wanted to work with one? I can understand why he did it, but it still made him a hypocrite. He literally said at the end how it was humans and aliens. His deal with Lockdown literally went against that entire statement.
So what do we say, boys? C tier?
Give it a D. I'm mad about the hypocrite thing.
D tier for me. Okay, now we're on to The Last Night, or as it should be called, the worst Transformers movie ever made.
Agreed. This movie was a hunk of crap that completely shoved the films down the fucking toilet.
They should have quit while they were fucking ahead. Not only did they further change the lore and everything we learned from the previous films, but they tried to say that they fought in World War II. What the fuck? I can understand how the Transformers were on Earth for ages, but to suddenly say that they fought in a world war and that all the greatest people of the world knew about them? What a fucking piece of crap.
While the new lore and the plot were interesting, especially Unicron being Earth, they literally undid the ending for Dark of the Moon by having Cybertron crash into Earth. Cybertron got torn apart in Dark of the Moon. How could they just suddenly bring it back? And how the fuck did Quintessa even get there? And why was there no mention of anything from this film in the previous ones like the Knights or the Staff?
The entire Nemesis Prime thing was a waste of time. Sure, it was a cool idea, but it was horribly executed.
I've seen better Nemesis Primes from some of the Transformers series. The version from War for Cybertron trilogy was the best, while this one was shit. The entire unexplained return of Megatron was shit. The entire film was shit. F tier.
F tier.
Agreed. Okay, so what about the Bumblebee movie?
B tier. The movie only revolved around Bumblebee.
You dumbass, that's the fucking point of the movie. Why do you think it was called Bumblebee?
They should have at least shown more Autobots other than him and Optimus, and made the Decepticons that were the main antagonist ones we were already familiar with instead of ones we never heard of.
I actually have to agree with that last part. I didn't mind Dropkick and Shatter, but I wish they could have at least cast characters from the past series and films as the antagonist. But I don't like the film somewhat myself, either.
Barack, are you fucking kidding me? This film was the great reset of the films as a whole after Michael Bay fucked up the last two of his own movies. Honestly, I love this movie and give it an A tier. Not only does it give us an interesting story and tell us how everything started on Earth and how Bumblebee got there, but it actually gives the humans necessary roles instead of just throwing them in there.
Donald, the plot almost completely went against the other films in terms of continuity, and Bumblebee didn't even get his voice box torn out by Megatron. That was iconic for him in the franchise. They didn't cover anything about Megatron or the Allspark. I'm personally disappointed with it. Sure, it was a lot better than AOE and TLK, but it's not A or S tier material.
Obama, I'm pretty sure you're starting to get up there in old age. There is no way I'm letting you put Bumblebee anywhere below A tier.
Joe, what did you think?
About what?
Fucking shit. Okay, Michelle will be here soon, so for the sake of time, I'll just put it in B tier.
The fuck you will, Obama. You already ruined my Minecraft White House by sending a drone strike after me. You're not going to ruin this tier list.
Fuck it then, we'll call this a B+.
A minus.
Fine. There we have it, boys. Every Transformers movie ranked. I feel pretty good about this tier list, if I do say so myself.
It's fine.
I think it looks pretty good. So, anyone want to play Minecraft?
Fine. Let me make a new world. You and Obama destroyed the last one, so we need to start all over again.
I'll join you fellas later. Michelle just got home and she doesn't look happy.
Kick his ass for me, Michelle.
We'll see you later. I need to go take my next set of pills, and then I'll join you, Don.
Fine, Grandpa. We'll start a new call when you finally find your pills after looking everywhere, but can't find them because they were right in front of you the entire time.
Fuck you, Donald.